Hi, it's Mrs. Scarple, and in the last couple of days we have been working with similar triangles, solving for missing sides of similar triangles. And today we're going to extend that. So we're still going to work with similar figures, it's just we're going to add to that similar quadrilaterals. Quadrilaterals have four sides to them. So our content objective is to set up and solve a proportion for a missing side of two similar quadrilaterals. Our language objective is to read a diagram to identify the corresponding parts. And our social objective is to work independently or in small groups to identify corresponding parts of triangles and quadrilaterals and use them to solve for missing sides. So let's take a look at this. First, we're going to practice completing this similarity statement for these two triangles, identifying corresponding sides, and the congruent angles. We want to make sure that you understand how to find the corresponding pieces and how to pair them up. So we have triangle STU is similar to, we're going to finish this statement with triangle. And when I look at this triangle, or these two triangles, I should say, this triangle has a length of 20 and a length of 22, and the other triangle has a length of 10 and a length of 11. And when I look at these numbers, I know that 20 and 10 have a relationship, and 22 and 11 have a relationship. 10 times 2 is 20, 11 times 2 is 22. So that tells me that SD is going to respond to SU, and SE is going to correspond to ST. So let me color those in here quickly. So SD is going to correspond to SU, and SE is going to correspond to ST. So when I write my similarity statement, remember these letters need to go in corresponding order. Now I mentioned ST, so ST is going to correspond to SE. And then there's only one other point of this triangle, and that's D, so it must go SED. So that's our similarity statement. Now let's identify the corresponding sides. Corresponding sides are going to be the sides that are proportional to each other. So we have ST, and I'm going to write this as a proportionality statement. ST is going to correspond to SE, and if I look at my lettering, then TU will correspond to ED, and then I have US will correspond to, that was last letter, first letter, so last letter, first letter, DS. And those are my corresponding sides. My congruent angles oops, spelled that wrong. I can also get from my similarity statement angle, and actually I'm not going to say just angle S and angle S because there's actually two angles at the point S. So here's point S. We have an angle here, and we have an angle here. So to name angles that share a point, we need to use 3 points. So in this case, it's going to be angle DSE is congruent to angle UST. So anytime a point is shared, we call this a vertex. Anytime a vertex is shared by 2 angles, we need to use 3 letters to name those angles. For the other angles, because they aren't sharing their vertices, we can just say angle T is going to be congruent to angle E, and that angle U is going to be congruent to angle D. So T and E are both the second letter, U and D are both the third letter. So that is completing the similarity statement, identifying corresponding sides, and identifying congruent angles. Now, if we want to find the missing side of similar quadrilaterals, we can do the same thing as when we have similar triangles. We need to identify corresponding sides, and here are shapes. If we look at them, I have a larger one and a smaller one. And they look the same kind of shape, it's just the size is different. So I need to identify what corresponds with this question mark. And if I look at my shape, the 30 is going to correspond to the question mark. And then I just need one other pair of sides that has a complete ratio. I have this 28 that corresponds to the 35. So I can write a proportion that says that my question mark related to the 30, so the smaller shape to the bigger shape, is going to equal the ratio of 28 to 35, the smaller shape to the bigger shape. And then I can use what I've been calling, some students introduced me to this name, the butterfly method to solve this. It's multiplying the diagonals of the proportion. So we're going to have 35 times the question mark equals 30 times 28. So that's going to be 35 times the question mark is going to equal, let's see, 3 times 8 is 24, so I have my 4, carry the 2, 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 840. Then, to solve for the question mark, I need to divide both sides by 35, and my question mark is going to equal, let's see, 35 goes into 84 twice, with 14 left over because 2 times 35 is 70. And actually, I'm just going to do it this way. I'm just going to go off to the side, do it longhand. 35 goes into 84 twice. 2 times 35 is 70. That's how I get the 14. I subtract the 70. I bring down my 0. Well, if 2 times 35 is 70, and 140 is twice 70, I'm going to make a guess that 4 times 35 is 140. So 4 times 5 is 20. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 2 is 140. If I subtract, I don't have any left over. So my question mark is 24. And that is my final answer.